Upcoming SpaceX IPO, still talk of the town. Check this out from Jim Cramer. As I said tonight on the show, I am very worried about the amount of supply stemming from SpaceX, OpenAI, and Anthropic, e.g. the IPO for each of these companies. He adds, they really need to be spaced out, and we will need no lockups, so SpaceX won't open at $3 trillion. We'll get back to some additional discussion on X shortly, but first, I saw this from Bloomberg. Despite the fact that Musk recently posted on some of Bloomberg's coverage, don't believe everything you hear, something along those lines, relating to the potential valuation. This is new, and we can see on screen now, SpaceX set to target more than $2 trillion valuation in IPO.
Bailey was just talking about the test the waters meetings, and one of the things we've tried to report on in some detail over a number of years, it's not new, is the revenues breakdown at SpaceX, right? There was a point where it went from mostly launch to mostly Starlink. What I'm seeing and hearing right now is Starlink at the top end tracking to maybe $20 billion of revenues this year, if they exceed. How do you price an IPO on that data?
It's the perfect question, and thanks for having me here. First of all the numbers we've seen so far are leaked numbers or rumored numbers or through the grapevine. Until they flip that document public, we aren't really going to know what any of the numbers are.
So credit where it's due here. Very nice to hear the guest pointing out, as I've done as well, that all of the numbers we've heard so far in terms of revenue, profits, everything other than the public disclosure of Starlink customers from SpaceX and the visible launches that we can see how many launches they're doing, right? Because they're live streaming them, almost all. Other than that, we have no idea whether or not what we've heard reported is accurate or not. Ahead of the IPO, we will see some filings which will disclose a lot of this stuff. But until then, you have to assume that it may be close to accurate or it may be total bullshit. So we are still somewhat guessing.
And then until they go out, as you just heard, and meet with investors and they test the waters, we're not going to know what the bank's expectations are for 2027, 2028. I presume they'll go out much further. But none of the numbers that are being bandied about in any way fundamentally correlate to $1 trillion or $1.5 trillion or a $2 trillion
right
valuation. It's all hope. It's all, do we believe the vision? It's all, do we believe that they will have limited competition, which we know there's more coming?
Wait, what? Competition on what? The launch business? It took 10 years for Blue Origin to land their first orbital class booster. A decade. And the only way that Starlink was viable was on the back of a rapid and low-cost launch business. Starlink's now home broadband plus cellular service. So on those three fronts, launch, which then itself enables Starlink home broadband, which also includes blanketing the entire planet in coverage. It's not geographically limited to certain pockets. The whole planet, the surface of the Earth, including the tops of mountains, is covered by Starlink service at this point. This is going to rapidly expand, not just the home broadband, but also the cellular service, which is actually a huge growth opportunity here because you need far less data. I don't want to get too nerdy here, but in short, per square mile or kilometre of the surface of the Earth, you can give a lot more people access to Starlink cellular service as opposed to home broadband. So the potential for Starlink cell service to massively outgrow Starlink broadband is, it's almost a certainty. So let's recap. No one's able to compete on the launch business and could be at least a decade, probably never, which I know is a dangerous word, but SpaceX won't stand still. By the time a company might have an equivalent product to, say, the Falcon 9, might take them 10, 15 years to get to the same point in terms of cost as SpaceX is today. But SpaceX is developing the next-gen rocket, Starship, to dramatically lower cost even further. And this is what has enabled Starlink. So competition coming, please tell us more. And she hasn't yet touched on any of the XAI related stuff, nor the X platform itself, the exclusive data stream and all the products there, X money and so on.
So it's a leap of faith, and there's going to be a lot of FOMO here. And the best way to look at how to value it is to go way back to 1934, where you look at Graham and Dodd, who wrote the book on fundamental securities valuations. And they had a great comment that was applicable during the internet phase, and it's applicable now. And it's, hey, look, there are times, I'm paraphrasing, but there are times when there are new fields of endeavor, new companies in areas we've never seen before. And investors can, in fact, make a lot of money if they are involved early enough. But everybody needs to understand it is not a fundamental investment. It is a bet. It is a speculative bet. And that's what money at these valuations will be. going into SpaceX. You roll a dice,
right,
and you say, Starlink's pretty cool.
Really? You think, Lisa, this is rolling a dice situation? That's certainly not what's going to be being discussed with banks talking to investors today.
There is no math that correlates the current revenues to $2 trillion. None. So yes, it's a bet on the future. And it's a compelling and potentially fascinating and enormous and also very uncertain future.
Lise, typically before a big IPO of a late stage startup, they would raise a big round, right? Largely to bring in the crossover investors. In this case, SpaceX merged with xAI, which changed the valuation dynamic, brought debt onto the balance sheet, etc. What was your assessment of that transaction pre-IPO?
Typical Musk, I would say. I think, again, until we know what the math looks like, it's very hard to make any sort of a sound assessment. It's clearly bundling things together, and heaven knows he's done pretty astonishing things in the past that have worked out and some that haven't. So we don't yet know. And again, I've not been on the Test the Waters meetings. Maybe they're explaining this, but how the two are going to interact such that one
just head over to the SpaceX website. It's right there. They explained at the time of the acquisition/merger the purpose. We've also recently seen the Terafab project announced. The synergies are obvious and clearly and publicly explained by SpaceX and xAI. It's no secret. And to be completely fair, until we actually have numbers from SpaceX, we can't know for sure if the numbers we might be using to model the company, growth rates, make a fair value estimate are accurate. But we can at least undertake the exercise, assuming that those numbers may change, but if they don't, here's what they look like. We do know how many Starlink customers they have. Recently passed 10 million. That was disclosed by SpaceX. So we know this. We know how much people are paying typically for Starlink subscriptions for home broadband as well. And there are conventions for valuing a telecommunications/internet service provider, highly recurring and predictable revenue. We don't know exactly what the profits on this are, but we're hearing that it's an extremely profitable business. We've also heard not too long ago, 6+ million active monthly Starlink direct-to-cell users. Again, it's not that hard to do some rough modelling here and get a ballpark sort of idea for valuation. Now, I take a point. There's a lot of betting on the future, the huge opportunity, Terafab, the moon, blah, blah, blah. But we can still get pretty far just looking at what we already know, using those placeholder numbers and assuming they're probably correct, but if not, that's okay. Then factor in X plus xAI, the value there as well. And doing so without any absurd or overly optimistic estimates for the future already get us to a totally reasonable $2-ish trillion valuation. Then you add on the Musk factor, the ambition. I know it sounds kind of crazy to say, but a $2 trillion valuation for SpaceX could be a bargain.
Does this have read across to any of the others in the pipeline, Lisa? Or is this very much your view on Elon Musk and this bet on SpaceX? Because there's also a bet on xAI, and we have plenty of other AI companies potentially waiting in the wings.
So from a general sense, when you have a very large IPO, and we've never seen one like this before, but we've had Alibaba, we've had Facebook, we've had other we had Saudi Aramco, although kind of a very different industry. When you have a big IPO that goes well, as Alibaba did, usually a number of the companies in the wings put the foot on the gas and say, we're going to take advantage of the fact that investors are feeling good about IPOs, and you see much more activity. When you see a larger IPO that stumbles out of the gate, as Facebook did, people and companies go back into hibernation for a while. So this could be the opening of the door that certainly bankers would love to see, but we have to see how it plays.
That is definitely a fair point. Anyone remember the tsunami of EV SPACs and IPOs during the scamdemic mania? Now, as promised, back to X. I saw this from Tesla Boomer, who wrote, please think twice if you want to consider selling Tesla stock to get into the SpaceX IPO. Please. This was in response to DJ Quantum Theory, who wrote, here's what happens. Retail, as in Tesla retail investors, would dump Tesla stock to chase the SpaceX IPO in June. Once it pumps, smart money whales insiders rug them, e.g. pull the rug, as in dump the stock, then rotate back into Tesla, undercutting retail and taking over. The market doesn't care about retail investors. They won't hand us a $10 trillion valuation. It is all a game, in my opinion. And here's a reply to Alexandra's post urging people to think twice about selling Tesla to get into the SpaceX IPO, who wrote, for many reasons, it doesn't make sense to sell Tesla to buy SpaceX. 1, SpaceX is at the top of the hype cycle at this point. Next step, the trough of disillusionment. For many of us, many Tesla stock investors that is, we would be paying significant capital gains on sales of Tesla shares. And this is a factor. Whenever you do sell something that you've made a juicy profit on, you lose a meaningful percent of those profits, meaning whatever you have left over to redeploy is significantly less. Depending on where you are in the world, capital gains taxes can be 50+% in some cases, meaning you need to get a much better return than just having held on to the existing asset just to be quote unquote break even. He adds, wait until the merger and you won't have a tax bill, which can confirm this is my strategy, not selling a single share of Tesla stock. Many people have been asking, I keep answering this, but not everyone watches every video. I'm not selling any Tesla stock to buy SpaceX. I would have a substantial capital gains tax bill, and every share of Tesla that I currently own, I see as a portion of my ownership in the merged entity, which includes Tesla, SpaceX, XAI, and X in the future. Now, we don't know this is going to happen, but I am willing to bet, which is exactly what I'm doing. 3. Quote, the longer the base, the greater the breakout. Tesla has been in a 5-year base. I don't want to miss the breakout, he says, as autonomy is just starting to scale. Now, obviously, folks, everybody watching could use their own brain and make their own decisions. One thing I will say, the SpaceX IPO is going to be monumental. The discussion will not stop until well after it's taken place. A significant number of Tesla retail investors will want some SpaceX. My strategy is just to save, so I'm not going to exactly be buying a lot at IPO, but whatever. I spent the last 10 plus years buying Tesla stock with every spare cent. I might spend the next 10 plus years buying SpaceX stock with every spare cent, and then eventually the two become one, and it wouldn't have made much of a difference which I was buying in the first place. And just finally, I recently conducted a poll, still underway on X, asking people, the perfect portfolio is roughly 50% picked all in Tesla, but the other roughly 50% fancied a combination of roughly 50% Tesla, 50% SpaceX. So clearly, based on the audience who at least voted on this poll, roughly half of Tesla investors want a healthy slice of SpaceX too. There's going to be a lot of demand and interest from retail investors. That is for sure. Want more content? Early access? Bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 has been part of my daily health protocol for almost half a decade. It's packed full of vitamins and minerals and helps me fill in nutritional gaps while supporting energy, digestion, and immune function. It also has prebiotics and probiotics to promote gut health. I take my health very seriously, and so should you. Try AG1 today by visiting drinkag1.com/SMR or click the link in the pinned comment and enjoy a free welcome kit with vitamin D3 plus K2 and AG1 travel packs. That's drinkag1.com/SMR.